Hello guys, am I audible to you? Abhijit, can you confirm if I'm audible?
Yeah, they are audible.
Sorry, I could not get you.
Yeah, you're audible, Ravinder.
Okay, and visible too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So guys, those who have joined, let me tell you that we are going to start this Guru class exactly at 11. Okay. A lot of participants are expected to join in today's Guru class. Okay. So let's wait for everyone to join in and then we will start this session quickly. Okay. I really appreciate your time and patience, but just 5 more minutes to go. Stay tuned and then we will start. Okay. The mentor will be here shortly, and then we will have a very brief discussion about the agenda for today's session, which is how you crush your next coding interview, right? All the tips, the strategies that are required to perform well, to show your mettle, to display, what you know about, coding questions or the questions coming from programming fundamentals or maths and number theory. All that will be discussed in detail in today's Guru class. Stay tuned. We'll be starting this shortly. Thank you. Just 2 more minutes to go, guys. Meanwhile, let me tell you about the functionality of Zoom webinar. Okay, currently there are three options available on your screen. One is raise hand, the another one is chat, and the final one would be Q&A, right? So between the session, if you have any questions or any doubts in particular, you should route those doubts or you should write your questions on Q&A section, right? Chat section is reserved for general conversation when your mentor or me, when we are saying, if you want to acknowledge if you have understood, so you can mention that on the chat, right? And the third option, raise hand, please keep that reserved towards the end of the session, wherein there will be a live Q&A session with the mentor. So if you have a valid question, the mentor will allow you to speak, and then you can have one-on-one discussion to clear your doubts also, right? So just 1 more minute to go, and then we are good to go. Start. Thank you. Okay, so Let's start now, okay, guys. So I welcome you all to this exciting Guru class from Unikaksha, right? So in a Guru class, what happens is the best of the mentors, they come here, right? And they guide you on different topics, right? So every week on a Saturday at 11 a.m. in the morning, we schedule a Guru class, right? So whenever you have time on a Saturday, right? Uh, any week, any month, right? So you can just go ahead and register for these Guru classes and enjoy free learnings from Unikaksha, right? So about Unikaksha is an online edtech platform, right? And our solo motive is to help students, help anyone who has an inclination towards information and technology, right? So you all know that if we talk about the outlook of IT industry, it's really promising, it's really good, right? And if we look at uh, different statics on websites or online, so every single governing bodies are mentioning that from within if I say let's take last 10 years into consideration, okay, 9 or 10 years into consideration, so IT industry is going to grow big time, right? So if anyone wants to make their career in IT, now is the time. You should upskill yourself, you should be ready for career transition, right? So whenever you are ready, you can take help from online platforms that are going to provide you with education and get you a job ready candidate for IT industry, right? Whenever you should know that, whenever you go for interviews, and that too into IT companies, there are multiple rounds of interviews, right? And it is very important for you to stay focused on core programming languages. You should know that the basics of programming fundamentals, or web development, web designing, software development, application development, it all starts with coding. Even if it's artificial intelligence, machine learning, or data analytics, you should know coding, right? So whenever you go for these interviews, you always get a few coding questions, right? Problem solving questions, right? These questions are either coming from programming fundamentals, coming from basics of computer science, coming from maths and number theory, data structures and algorithms, right? So how do you ace these interview rounds? How you crush your next coding interview, right? So the mentor here is going to provide you with tips and strategies so that you can ace, always on these interview rounds, right? So let me welcome Swati here. Swati Yadav is going to be your mentor for today's session. She's having 8+ years of experience into Java full stack development, web development, right? And she has been a certified trainer in full stack development as well, right? So she is one of the best mentors in the industry. She has worked with, she has worked in this profile before, and currently she is into, trainings and coachings. So she is going to be a mentor today. I welcome Swati here, and Swati, now it's over to you. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Ravindra, for that warm welcome. Right. So, hello, guys, and good morning on this very beautiful Saturday morning that I am enjoying. I hope you guys will also enjoy it to the fullest in our 1 hour of session. Now, as a technical training manager, I often receive questions about how to do well in technical interviews, right? So that is the general question. I think each of us or the developers out there, you might have it, you might be into the system already working with some organization, but still you might be looking for some of the other good opportunity out there. So, well, this is a very vast topic, as different companies, they have different ways to conduct a technical interview. For some, you might go, there would be some around 2 rounds of interviews only technical. Some might have some 4 rounds of interviews, based on the capability. And all the interviews, they're also kind of, they start from easy to difficult. The difficulty level also, it rises with each round as it passes, right? Now, today I'm going to share a few tips to do well in the traditional coding interviews where you need to solve coding problems. There are F2Fs, maybe on whiteboards or collaborative IDs. or on a phone call. The important thing here is that a person is interviewing you, right? So why and how you should, be able to attempt that interview. That is what our main concern is today. Now, without wasting any more of your time, so let's start with this process where I can brief you about the tips from my overall experience that I have into this career of programming. So I have been on both sides of the table. And I think at one point we'll always be, on both sides of the table, right? So it's not like our profession is something which is kind of stable, but whenever we want to look for a better opportunity, we move to the other side of the table and start with our interviewing process. So coming from that, with the same mindset and from the same experience that I bring on to right now, I've been on both the sides. Starting our career as developers, we went through n number of interviews, and every time, I'll be honest, it was not like that. The first interview that I ever sat on, I clearly remember it was for Wipro, somewhere 10 years back, and I failed my F2F, which is why I'm bringing this up over here is that it doesn't matter sometimes, you are going to fail, but then you are always going to succeed at the end. You just need to apply the right strategy towards it. I was not much prepared. I had no idea about it. I'd never, taken the MIs that were there in my college for it, the interview preparation, because we were in the, expression, you could say, or the impression was that we know everything, we are top performers, and what they are going to teach us. I know aptitude, I know puzzles, I can do this, I know coding. I mean, like, that was the attitude which many of us had, and we did not attend those interview prep sessions. And when our first company came, so most of our batchmates, they failed terribly. They cleared the technical, which was the coding round, and in the F2F, we failed. Now the things got like, we failed Wipro. That means it's the easiest company to get in, and we still failed that. So something is, wrong. I mean, like, it's kind of, has gone. We were so confused. What wrong did we do? We gave answers. They were asking these type of questions. We were not prepared much. So then we kind of, working towards a group. There was this group of my friends. So we sat together and we strategized at that point of time that, the next company that's coming in, all of us has to get into that. But still some were left behind. Some, some got placed after maybe 5 companies and so on. But that was the time that, I realized that there has to be some strategy to clear those rounds or to clear the company interviews. It's not so easy, it's not a walk in the park that, one day I'm just studying for college and the next day I can just go and clear that interview. It was not like that, because I've seen the reality. So now here, for that purpose only, to prepare you guys better, we brought in this Guru class so that I can shed some light on it, because I've been from an interviewee to an interviewer, everything. Right now, when we conduct, I do conduct interviews, for our organization, for my previous organization, and I've seen that pattern, and where the students, they lack, where they need to work on, So interviews, they can be overwhelming for even experienced candidates, even for the experienced one, those who come in. It's kind of a daunting job for them, right? And it is the first step of getting qualified for that dream job that you have in mind. When it comes to a programmer, coding interviews are considered one of the toughest rounds, right? Everything else, HR rounds, we know, we can speak, we can, just tell and blah, blah, everything goes well. But where the technical is there, sometimes, the students are able to crack the tests which are there, the remote tests which are there, the online tests for the interviews, but they fail in F2Fs. The technical, that was supposed to be the easy ones, right? So, And there, the toughest rounds are your coding rounds. To crack it, as it assess a candidate's skills, the logical thinking, the cognitive skills, the intelligence along ability to solve problems and decisions. So before attending the coding interviews, one must prepare well for their interviews in advance. Now, cracking and coding interviews is not as easy, as it involves working with algorithms, problems, and complex scenarios. Okay, so if you know the concept, but you've never applied that concept anywhere, and you will have a question in hand, you will not be able to solve it. Though you know what is a string, what is an array, how do we apply for loop, but you've never solved those problems, the problem solving problems which are there, the coding problems which are there, then whatever concept you know is actually a waste. Okay, so these scenarios which you need to practice on, they require strong technical and logical skills. These interviews, they also require these technical and logical skills. You are assessed on these skills, because when you move into any organization, I hope I'm clear about that. I hope I'm correct about that. And you might have that experience coming in as well. When you go into any organization, you see that, at one point you learn Fibonacci numbers, but you're not applying Fibonacci numbers over there. You are working on a full-fledged project. It's entirely different, building interfaces and something. Now, relate why the question on Fibonacci numbers or factorial was there even in your curriculum, or prime numbers or perfect numbers. Why it was there? Anyone who can tell me? Why did you practice those coding problems, those fundamental programming questions? But when you move into an organization, you see that you're working on entirely, kind of haba types of project. It's too huge. You're building APIs, interfaces, from scratch. So why was learning programming fundamentals at that time was important? Anyone? Yeah, because of, making your basics clear. Yes. Also, it, improves your ability, logical thinking. So when you move to any fresher, I'm talking about fresher interviews, they do not ask some, kind of high level DSA questions. Very rarely it happens. They give you a DSA question, which is totally of, hardest of the level. They give you some easy to medium questions. Why do they give you, and why do they ask for programming, that you can write a program over there? They could ask you to make an API. They can ask you to, create an interface, maybe write some logic for that, fetch the APIs from here, use access or something like that. Why they give you DSA questions? They assess your logical ability. They assess your critical thinking. Okay. Why? Because when you will move to their organization, you will be working on projects. The project will be huge. You are the one who's the developer for that project. You need to come up with ways to solve the problem and to deliver an end product. That's why assessing your logical and critical thinking is really important for these interviewers. All right. That is the only reason. Now, don't feel overwhelmed by the interview process. If you know how to prepare and you take all the necessary steps which are there, you can tackle anything the interviewers throw at you, which means that sooner or later, you will get one of those high-paying jobs which you've been dreaming about. All right. So preparation for acing a coding interview, it starts month before the interview itself. So if you guys, you are in your final year of college, for example, or you are already into an organization, but you still dream to be in your, some product-based companies, your interview preparation should start right away. It is not like that you're going to first apply to a company and then you have a deadline that this is your, interview date. And then in that 10 days of time, for example, you are in, starting a preparation with. The preparation should start even before, months before you plan to get into that particular company. You will have to get the right experience, build some good projects outside of the school, your college. You need to find internships if you are in college, to do mini projects as well, to solidify your portfolio, right? To solidify your understanding of key concepts. Practice explaining code. I come to that point that when I say practice explaining code, why is it important? And there are a lot of more things that needs to be discussed. We know that it's hard to prepare for tech interviews. It is because you cannot mug up everything, right? You cannot. But we still need some guidance to start preparing in the right direction. To resolve this problem and clear doubts, today, we are going to talk about some points which are going to help you tackle the coding interview preparation process effectively. So some of the basic things that the agenda, I hope that is clear. We'll be discussing about tips and strategies. So, either we talk about, it's a question that I see from Rahul, right? Either you talk about some, back end, front end, full stack interviews. Either you talk about analyst interviews, you talk about data science interviews. The strategies for that, it kind of remains more or less same. A lot of good projects you need on your resume, the good understanding of those projects you need. Concept-wise, you should be very strong, okay? In terms of development, we expect you to work with algorithms and DSA. In terms of data science and analyst role, there are different algorithms which are relevant to their field that you need to be aware of. I'll come to that part, all right? Now, the first thing which I need to discuss with you guys is to create a good resume, okay? So your resume is very important. You could say it's like a first impression that any company, okay, or any interviewer, they see for the first time. It's your first impression. So creating a good resume means your resume should be able to pass the initial screening. Do you know about that our resumes, they are also screened? There is a format, for your resume, they are also screened. So sometimes these are manual screenings. Other times the people, they have automated those screenings, all right? So of an applicant tracking system, there's an ATS, right? That is programmed to match keywords from the JD, from the job description, which is there. So your resume, it should contain only information which is relevant to that job profile which you are, or the JD where you are applying for it. That should be highlighted to the recruiter. We'll go through your resumes for a few seconds. For example, put the job title of the job description right under your name. Sometimes, you have to curate your resumes for the places that you're applying to. Do not just keep one sample ready of your resume, ready to, kind of throw it out to the world. Curate your resume for the kind of role that you are applying. Maybe you're a full stack developer, but you're applying for a web developer. Highlight those things. That should be the main point in your resumes that should be highlighted if you're applying for a web development role. That is what I'm saying. You should highlight. If for backend, apply for that. If an analyst, apply those skills. Write those down that you're applying for this role. Then only in the screening, there were this applicant tracking systems which are there where the screening happens for the resume. It only happens, the resume moves forward if there are matching words with the JD. Okay. You cannot assume that your past roles and responsibilities are exactly what your future employee is looking for. Based on the JD, read the JD properly. Whenever you're applying for any job on any portal, read the JD properly. Try and understand what are the requirements, what are the roles and responsibilities that they are looking for, and then see whether your resume has those things or not. If not, add those. If you really have those skills, I'm not talking about forging some things. But I'm talking about if you have those skills, put those up on your resume. Those skills needs to be highlighted for that particular job. Okay. So you cannot assume that whatever you did in the past, whatever kind of role you did in the past, you're going to be doing that, the same kind of role in another companies that you're going to work for. No, the responsibilities, the roles and responsibilities, they always change. I'll be coming to that, Tejas, just in a while. All right. So only then you create a resume that speaks to that particular research, to that JD. So in your employment history description, try to show what you did, where you worked, how you did it, and what were the results. Don't cut out the technical lines. Okay. And in place of removing the technicalities out of your resume, do not put something which is non-technical, which is of irrelevance over there. They do not want to see that how good of a swimmer you are. They want to see what kind of projects you've built. So that is very important to put up in your resume. You know, what kind of projects you've done so far. So while uploading, make sure your resume is always PDF. Okay, do not give them a Word file. Yes, I will show you. Look, I have 2 sample resumes in front of me. You'll see work experience coming up. This is for a business development. Then what is the educations, the skills they are highlighted for the particular role. Okay, these are samples. Then the organizations where they worked and the honors and awards. For a fresher, the honors and awards, they are not relevant to, you know, maybe the projects they have done or the companies, but you might have some awards that you've got, or recognition that you've got in during your internship. You might have been a good performer all throughout your academic. You can put that. Those things can come up over here. Once you're into the system, once you've started with doing your job, now you get those certifications, rewards and recognitions, right? You need to put those also, that, you know, that you've been an outstanding performer and something like this for this quarter. Then this is for the, again, this is your another kind of, a format, a different format for resume. Here, the highlights, the contacts, everything is on one side. Also, do not make your resumes on Word. There are many good resume making tools. You can use Figma also, you can use Canva also. That is what I use. You can use other resume making tools to make your resumes this attractive that you see right now. Otherwise, Word resumes, they look very simple, plain and simple, right? Now, the project section is really very important for the college students or for the recent graduates. Think properly what you need to put there in the projects. Put those projects on your resume which you are really very sure about. Sometimes we work in a team. The other members might have done something. You are not aware about that project. You've just written your name under it. It happens, you know, in college it happens. We work on the project sometimes. And you are not aware about the project. You've not done that project, but you've written it down in your resume. You will go to an interview. Some questions your interviewer might, some questions being will be asked by your interviewer, which are technical questions, some, maybe OOPS question, DSA questions, few of the coding problems. And then they move to the projects that you've done. They'll start asking questions. So sometimes you might get someone as an interviewer who actually knows this project, or he might have done it or have an experience in it. So they're going to ask everything about it. Be very sure of the projects that you mention in your resume. Okay. Sometimes you need to explain those to the interviewer. They need to check that what you've done, what kind of authentication, authorization, what it is about, how you've designed the dashboard. So they're going to ask which technology you've used. Okay, be sure of that. So you might have worked on projects. As I'm not sure about that, but as far as I have been into this system, I've always used my image on the resume. Okay. For any professional resume that I've seen, I've always seen an image over there. Okay. Could be someone who might have told you has a different take on that. But in my experience, in all the students that we've trained for, we've always used photographs. We've always used the profile photo. All right. Our resumes are always colored. They are beautiful to look at. Kind of like this only. My resume also looks like this only. It's all colored. It's not colored means there is no pink, green, yellow, blue altogether. But yes, some standard color should be there. This is standard, you see. Okay. I will tell you, Dilip Kumar. Just wait for a while. Okay. So it's very important about the projects that you put into it. Learn and include multiple programming languages into your resume. It is true that you only need one programming language to clear your interview. But when it comes to interviews, you should know multiple programming languages. I'm not saying that, to be jack of all trades over here, but yes, little bit knowledge so that if ever time comes, you can migrate. You can migrate to a different language. For example, from my own experience, I'll tell you, I started out with Java as a Java FSD developer, but then I had good amount of experience in web development. So when I had to switch my role to web development, it was very easy for me. I was not kind of, panicking over there that, I do not know web development. Now I need to learn it all again. Yes, you need to learn and refresh, but the transition also based on the role, maybe the responsibility that will come to you when you will start working, it might requires you to transition. That becomes easy. So learn languages, programming languages. So once you start with any object-oriented programming, it more or less becomes the same because the concepts, they are kind of similar. The syntaxes, they change. There are new concepts which come in, fine. But the overall gist of any programming language is same, right? So, and it is also true that, you need to master one language. Yes, you can mention your certificates. If you have certificates, you mention those certificates. That means it shows that you're certified in this particular programming language. You can write that like we are, Oracle certified. So we write Oracle certified Java, FSD developer. Or if we are MySQL for again, we are certified. So we write those things. Okay? You also write those out in certifications. So that is the one thing. Then the next thing comes is to have a good LinkedIn profile. Okay. So right now, I do not see people, they go out and hand out their resumes. The trend has moved more towards job portals, or over LinkedIn, right? So we search there and we kind of apply from there itself, where we provide our, and you might have seen that filling out any form. I suppose, yes. Yes, have you seen out if you've filled any form out for any job that you, ever applied to? They ask for LinkedIn profile. Do they ask for it? Yes? Cool. And why is it important to have a good LinkedIn profile? So that you stand out for that particular job application that you are applying. Now, create a good LinkedIn profile that can be found by recruiters easily. They can track you down. They can see your accomplishments, everything. Just like a resume on a LinkedIn, you can also see all those things, right? If you guys are on LinkedIn, you know that already, right? Your profile must have a good profile picture. Now, this good profile picture does not mean that you're out partying and you just felt good, cute in that outfit and you put that photo over there. Good profile picture means it's a professional picture. It's a headshot. Okay. Have a good headshot photo over there. The same profile picture should be on a resume as well. Good profile picture doesn't mean it's a WhatsApp DV that you're going to put over there. Okay. Don't put informal pictures. Again, I'm saying don't put informal pictures on these formal platforms. All right. Like LinkedIn. Also on Twitter, I see people doing that. But fine, Twitter has now become kind of a social platform itself. But LinkedIn is professional, but professional looking photographs only. Now, many people, they make the mistake of not including profile picture or picture which is not clearly visible, a picture which is kind of very informal. Now, that decreases the chance of your profile being read by the recruiters. Okay, you have to be confident in your pictures that you are displaying on LinkedIn. That actually exudes your charisma, your overall personality, fine, and your confidence as well. So that also affects making connections over LinkedIn, kind of like trust connections that we make. Be sure to update your headline from the default one. Okay, your headline should always be updated. I'll show you some 2 examples over here. You'll see this is a professional looking photograph. This is also a professional looking photograph. All right, it should be a headshot. Most importantly, it should not be an entire photo of yours from head to toe. There should be a headline, like this is a headline. This is again a headline that you see, graduate student at Northwestern. So if you're working somewhere, you write that, you write your position, you write your company over there. You might have seen people writing, including all of their companies in the headlines. You can do that also if you're in, if you want to include that. Your headline should be, again, professional. It should be updated. It should show your current role as well. Put relevant skills and keywords into your headlines. That allows, or, that helps with the LinkedIn search software. So this, why I'm telling you about the headline and to have a proper headline over there is it helps in search engine optimization. There is a LinkedIn search, right, with which the recruiters, they can contact you, they can search for you and can basically drop text and send you out the JD sometimes. So for that, okay, so that you show up in the recruiters feed. All right, to try to use your LinkedIn profile for telling the story, as you cannot write everything in your resume, but you can clearly mention the problem faced while making any project. You can showcase your certificates. You can even write your test scores and a lot more in your profile, which you cannot provide on a resume, because on a resume, it's a 1-page resume. Always try and limit your resume to 1 page itself. Do not extend it to another page. No one turns the page and reads the resume. Always keep your resume of 1 page. Try and accommodate it like that. Okay. But here on LinkedIn, you can look how they have written the summary about themselves. Look what you've done so far. What are the projects that you've worked on? What are the challenges that you faced on? What is the current role that you are taking? If you are open to work, what kind of different roles you are open to, you can write those. Or add your resume, the updated resume, onto your profile as well. Okay. That totally depends from, are you a LinkedIn creator? So LinkedIn creators, they kind of put posts, for content creation. Like you might have seen people talking about motivational things, career counseling. Some people, they kind of work on content creation of any technical or programming language. Those things are the content creation which comes into LinkedIn creators. Now, if you are not a LinkedIn creator, you can repost something. If you are looking out for a job, searching for a job, you can put a post out for that. Some informative things should go on LinkedIn. It's not a social media platform. It's not kind of something where you can post, every day. It's not Snapchat, it's not Instagram. It has to be professional. Keep it professional. Okay. Something that you think is of relevance, which needs to be shared with your peers, you can do that on LinkedIn. Within the confinement of, you could say, being professional. Okay. So networking in LinkedIn, it plays a major role for bagging any job. Try and build a good network. So you should make sure that you expand your network on LinkedIn. Okay. Target companies on LinkedIn that you want to go for, include them. From that, you target their senior managers, directors, include them as well. Kind of build a rapport, showcase that you are someone, that who's actually looking for a job, but you are also dedicated toward these things. You can contact hiring managers over there, senior managers, directors, if you're ever looking out for, these kind of roles or jobs. Okay. Then the next thing comes is acing the job interview. At most of the top tech companies, software engineers or the software engineering interviews, they generally consist of, there are different, parts of it. There is a coding round, which is focused on data structures and algorithms, which includes largest part of the interview process, because that is the most important part where they need to check your technical skills, your ability, right? Then they sometimes have system design interviews, scalability interviews, object-oriented interviews, kind of where some interviews which are entirely based on checking your knowledge on the core subjects, CS 101, operating systems, networking. Then you move to behavioral interviews with the HRs. In coding round, interviewers will make an assessment of your performance on the basis of your analytical skills. How optimal was your solution? Given any problem, you wrote the right answer, you're getting the right answer. Still, the program is going to check, have you written an optimal solution? How much time does it require, to arrive at the solution? How much time you took to write that solution? For example, I give you a question to, there is a string, for example, and you only need to reverse the alternate characters from that string. Okay, extract the alternate characters, reverse them, place it back into the string. This is the question that they might have given me. It's an example. Now they are going to check how much time did you take to do this activity. They generally do not provide more than 10 minutes for any question, even not even 10 minutes sometimes, if the question is this small. Sometimes they just need to see whether you're able to come up to any solution, maybe algorithmic wise. They do not even want you to run the problem, or execute it. They just want to see that are you applying the right, fundamentals to it or the concepts to it. Sometimes they just ask you to write the algorithm or the pseudocode itself. And what they are checking is whatever solution you are writing, is it optimal enough? Is it something, that is going to provide the best solution? Because to do any question, there are n number of ways, but the optimal solutions are only few. That basically reduces the processing power, the time complexity, space complexity are also good or the best in that case. So they look for those answers. You cannot have your project to be built around something which is not optimal or has the worst case scenarios. All right, so they look for those things. Did you need any help while solving that question? Did you ask for help from them? It was you alone. Also, whenever you are into these rounds or in these coding rounds, and these are F2F, for example, be loud. Be loud doesn't mean that you will start literally shouting at top of your voice. It just means that your thoughts should be loud. If I give you an example, if I give you a question to do, and I tell you that you have 10 minutes. So for 10 minutes, you cannot just sit mum and you just write something down. No, you cannot do that. You can, but it will have kind of like a negative effect on the interviewer, because people are not mind readers. We are still human, right? We are not mind readers. We are not able to judge what one is thinking. If you think that you are coming to a right answer, be loud, speak it out. That I'm thinking of applying a string like this and then using a split operation over here. Then I can reverse and join them back. Kind of speak those things out while you're applying that. Okay. That is the one thing. So I hope I'm clear on that. Now, the things come is there are a few tips which I need to share apart from, letting you know, about the good LinkedIn profile, the resume and the job interviews, what you should do. The first thing that I suppose is that you should practice as many coding problems as possible. Coming to the same question, which one of you has posted over here, where I can practice DSA questions for interview. Yes. So there is no other, or you could say no better way to do well in coding rounds than practicing as many coding problems as possible. This will not only train your mind to recognize algorithmic patterns in problems, but also give you much needed confidence to solve problems you have never seen before. So knowing useful coding patterns, maybe like 2-pointers, sliding windows, merge, cyclic sort, top K elements, all those kind of, it helps you to span out your thinking, and to understand algorithms much easily. So there are many platforms where you can practice coding. You might have heard of Code Chef, you might have heard of Interview Bit, you might have heard of Lead Code, HackerRank. There are many, but here again at Unikaksha, we have our own platform for DSA practice. All right. So there are many open platforms. Yes, there are many open platforms on internet where you can practice the questions. And the more you practice, the better you're going to get at it. Okay. Then the next is work on your software design skills. Some of the toughest problems in technical interviews are the design and system design questions. Questions like you might get, how will you design GitHub or Amazon? Design means architecture. You have to talk about the architecture, the low level, high level design of any application, of any web apps. Okay. How will you design? That's an open-ended question for you. How will you design? They want to know about, in terms of system designing, what is your capability? How much experience do you have in it? So they give these questions. How do you design Facebook? How do you design GitHub or Amazon? And this often throws candidates off their feet because they do not know from where to start and where to finish. They have never seen any architectural approach of it. They do not know how to design systems. They only know how to write code. That's it. I'm good at that. Now, how different parts of the system work together to achieve the common task. They are not aware about it. That's why it's very important that you know about software design and system design. Understand the pros and cons of every design, if it's monolithic or, microarchitecture or microservices. In the real world, it is often a trade-off, you could say. Okay, it is often a trade-off. For example, if you need a speed, you need to spend more memory. If I have to increase the speed, I need to add or spend more on memory. Similarly, if you want to reduce memory, you need to compromise with the speed. Then the speed will also be affected. There is no perfect system in the world. There is no equilibrium, you could say. But these intelligent trade-offs, which you need to make based on the project that you are working on and considering the future prospects, is what makes any system successful or fail. Okay, that's why it's very important. It's for all, whether you're a fresher, you might have not been taught system design, or you're taught system design, have a brief understanding of system design. Okay, what it is actually, how things work, what are the different what are the different structures that you can make or architectures. Learn all essential data structures and algorithms. Again, very important point, data structures and algorithm. Programming fundamentals, very good. What's string, what's loop, how to apply that, or arrays. The next thing comes is data structures. My third tip is that you have to learn about as many data structures and algorithms as possible. The ones which are, kind of fundamental, sorting, searching, trees, graphs, and all those. And the ones that are not kind of, you could say, too common, but if you have the, knowledge of it, you'll stand out. Okay. So it involves data structure. It involves lots and lots of reading also, with, along with practice. Why? Because there will be people, those who know how to apply stack and queue, but they are not aware where do we apply it? Where are the areas where I can use it? So that's a total waste. Yes or no? You know that you can apply a stack and queue like this. It's simple as that. But if you do not know at what place to apply which concept, is it a waste or not? Guess? You'll not be able to make any decision over there. So a proper reading of data structures is also important. Proper understanding of data structures is also very important. You should know about all essential data structures like array, linked list, string, hash table, trees, graphs, trees, TRIE, those things. For example, if you know about the hash table, you can also you know about arrays and counter based problems, and you can solve those problems very easily. The same is true for trees and graphs. So choosing the right data structure is a very important part of software development. By project bana rahe, if you are making the project, to know what kind of data structure to apply for storing, retrieving of data is very important, right? How my data should be arranged. If you're not aware about that, you'll just simply just apply any data structure which is not going to scale or not going to be of any benefit later on, you know. So that is important thing that you need to take care of. In your coding interviews, they ask questions from DSA, and not only programming questions, theory questions. They ask for usages, they ask for real life examples. You know, they'll ask you trees, you know, what is the real life example? Don't tell the tree outside your house. Where it is used exactly, you know, they'll ask for real life examples, which company it makes use of tree data structure. They're going to ask those kind of examples. Time yourself. Time yourself means apply timers. Whenever you solve a problem, give yourself a time. I'm going to solve this problem in 10 minutes exactly. Start a stopwatch. Limit yourself. There should be a time limit. How quickly you can solve a problem, how quickly you can come to a solution. Because when you appear for interviews, suppose it's an online interview, you'll have a problem, and for that problem, you'll hardly have some 15 minutes or 20 minutes around. Or for two problems, you'll have 20 minutes. If you're going to spend as much time on one problem, you'll not be able to complete your test. So time yourself. Okay, always think of the cases, what do we call test cases or edge cases for testing, you know, whether the solution that you've developed, is it right or not? You can explain, you know, group studies. If you guys are still in college, you have many friends, you guys want to work together and, you know, want to achieve something together, get into group studies. And that means study there, right? So after solving the problem, you can try explaining that to your friends or colleagues. How is that coding problem being solved? What was so intriguing about that problem? Once you explain something to other, I have always noticed this, once I explain something to other, it kinds of get embedded in my brain, right? You understand that concept more clearly. If you can explain it easily, that means you've understood that. That is one thing. If you can explain something easily, that means you've understood that concept. Okay. Discussion also gives your mind work. You know, you could come up with an alternative solution as well, maybe something more optimal than what you have originally thought. Okay. Give coding interviews, give mock interviews as much as you can to gain that experience out. Okay. To gain that experience so that when you appear for any actual interview, you are well prepared, you're confident enough. So give as much coding problem practice and as much, you know, coding interviews, mock interviews, and don't just burn your best chances over there. Okay. It's good that you appear for interviews and in lots of them. Start with sitting for mock interviews. Okay. So that was all from my ends to prepare you guys better. Always, you know, for your algorithm, if you're ever stuck, this is the last point, that if you're ever stuck on any problem, think of a simple solution that you can implement for any coding problem, for any algorithm that you're devising. Brute force algorithms. Once you have the brute force ready, you can always optimize it, okay, later on. So think about those things. Ask questions. If you're in an interview, someone had the interviewer, he's thrown a question at you, you're not able to ask again. Ask questions to clarify the doubt if you have any regarding the question he's asked you. Okay, it's not about asking for answers, it's about getting that question clear so that you can answer it better. Okay. So that sums up, our interaction for today. And my last tip for each one of you out there who are getting ready, getting all ramped up for these coding interviews is don't get discouraged. If you ever fail in your initial days of, interviewing sessions, take the feedback. It's very important to get the feedback from the company, from the recruiters. What was the feedback so that you can work on it? Okay, that you can review your progress so far and move forward towards a better possible path. We all fail, that's one thing. When I started this session, I hope I made it clear that we all fail at one point or the other time. But that does not mean that, after failing one technical round, maybe you're limited. Now there is nothing left for you to do. What is left for you to do is to work on the feedback that you've received from the recruiter, to again get into the pattern and start with your rigorous practice, and and then just kind of ace the interview. It's a skill that must be practiced. Coding is a skill that must be practiced. Keep on practicing and think about what you could have done better there and how you can improve it for your next experiences. So all the best, guys, for your next coding interviews. So you have a poll coming up. Ravindra, if you could help with the poll.
Sure, just one moment. Okay, the poll is live on your screen, guys. Thank you so much, Swati, for this very knowledgeable and insightful session, right? Guys, I hope it would have been a very insightful session for you guys. A lot of takeaways are there from this session today, right? And I believe you would utilize the learnings of today's session at some point in time of your life when you are ready for interviews, when you are a job ready candidate, and when you are appearing for those interviews. So the poll is live on the screen, right? The question is, identify few of the tips for acing an interview, right? There are 4 options. Build your coding portfolio is the one. Second is master interview skills. Third is sharpen your soft skills, or all of the above. Which one do you think is the correct answer? Okay, the poll is live on your screen for next 60 seconds. I'm expecting each one of you to submit your responses quickly. Okay. Right. So 22% people are saying build your coding portfolio is the correct answer. And remaining 78% people are saying all of the above, right? So congratulations, those who are saying all of the above is the correct answer, right? So whenever you want to ace your interview, you need to have a good coding portfolio, right? And the other steps are very, very necessary as well, right? Please bring up the second poll now. Right. The second poll is live on your screen. It is, can you guess the basic coding skills? 1, logical thinking. 2, abstract thinking. 3, attention to detail, or none? Which one do you think is the correct answer? Do you think, is it logical thinking, or is it abstract thinking, or you should have the attention to detail? Attention to detail means you have to not lose on any points that are there in the question, right? Or while you are displaying your coding skills, and you should give the the relevant answer. Okay, 67% people are saying it is logical thinking. 11% people are saying it's abstract thinking. and 22% people are saying attention to detail, right? Uh, Okay. So individually you have answered, but the correct answers are all, the three of them. You need to have logical thinking, right? As Swati explained, why logical thinkings are really, really important when you are giving interviews, right? Why do they assess you on your logical thinking? Second, abstract thinking is equally important, right? And yes, whenever you are looking at the questions, trying to give answers or solve those coding questions, DSA questions, you should have the attention to detail as well, right? So all the three are the correct answers. Thank you so much for submitting your responses. Now I'm, displaying up the final poll. Okay. Uh, so the final poll is, do you wish to know more about the offerings from Unikaksha, right? So as I told you that Unikaksha is an online edtech platform, right? We have counseled more than 11,000 students till the date, and we have helped, create more than 10,500 successful careers, right? And though the people we have counseled are working at really good companies, right? They are uh, their packages, their salary packages are really good, right? Handsome salary packages they are getting. And if we talk about the growth, right, the career opportunities. So if we talk about growth, there are two kinds of growth. One is monetary and the other one is designatory, right? So 70% of the people, they have attained good designatory growth, and remaining 30%, they are equally on, designatory growth and monetary growth, right? So every one of us, we are very clear with the thought in mind that we are studying, we are preparing for the jobs only, right? And once you have a high paying job at hand, that is all you need to start your career, right? Start your life with good money at hand. Everything is possible, right? Everything comes from money now. It is not a fact or logic anymore that money cannot buy happiness. Now it has been proven that money can buy happiness as well, right? Very simple example, a vague one. You are having a Maruti 800 and you are having a Mercedes beneath you while you are, driving on your way back home, or going to office, or going for a ride, right? It's good to have, luxury beneath you, right? So let me tell you something more about Unikaksha, right? I believe I did not introduce myself. I lead learning and development at Unikaksha, and Unikaksha provides one-on-one counseling sessions to anyone who wants to create a better career path for themselves, right? So if you guys are interested to know more about our programs, you can simply click on yes, right? And you will get a one-on-one counseling session from Unikaksha. We will help you understand, what has happened, and how you can add value, and it can give you benefits, right? So if we talk about a lot of things here, right, I would want to highlight this to you. If we look at the telephone from 100 years ago, right? So when the first telephone was introduced, it was really huge, and there were, I mean, you did not have a display, and then you have to call up a dialer, and then from you give the number, and then they were connecting you to the designated person who you are trying to call, right? Versus the telephones that we have right now, smartphones, everything is there. They're absolutely now computers, or acting like supercomputers. You want to click the picture of moon, that is made possible, right? Everything is in the palm of your hand now, right? You can connect to internet, you can connect with your loved ones. Everything was made possible. If you look at the car that was there 150 years ago, there were no engines, right? I mean, I'm talking about a horse cart or a bullock cart, right? Though it has four wheels, it was a four-wheeler, but manual operation was there. Now you have electric cars, right? That is the evolution that has happened. And if we talk about the classrooms, right? Go back to 300 or 400 years and look at the classrooms right now. They're absolutely same, right? Teacher on the front bench, then you are made, sit on your designated seats, and the teacher is teaching, right? That is similar right now, right? So front end, mid bench, and back benchers are always there, right? But when you go to the online platforms, that notion has entirely changed. Everyone gets a front bench, right? You can connect with the mentor whenever you want, right? A lot of doubt support is there, right? It's your mentors, it's your teaching assistants. Live channels are there wherein you can, route your questions, right? It has been made possible by the help of edtechs only, right? And if we talk about the universities that we have, right? And if we talk about the technical education you are getting, so while I have spoken to thousands and thousands of students, while I have counseled them, I've come across one simple conclusion that nothing has changed in terms of technical education. Whatever was there 15 years ago, the same knowledge and skill set is being disseminated right now, even if it's 2023, right? It's just that artificial intelligence, machine learning came 7 years back, but a lot has changed. But still, the way of learning, the way you solve questions, that all remain the same, right? You touch the basics of it. You do not dive deep into the statistics, or you do not dive deep into data structure questions while you are doing your BTech degrees or BCA or MCA, BSc in computer science. You just solve 10, 15 questions and you think that is done, right? You do not work on multiple projects, one or two projects, and in the final year you work on a capstone project, and that too into groups, and you're not very sure because you're students, right? You're not very serious about your career. You do not know what you have to do. So whatever your friend is doing, okay, let them do. It is my work. I'll do it. Done and dusted, right? But when you have online platforms to learn from, right, they help you with the specializations, right? Specialization into the fields that you are aspiring to make a career, right? If you want to be a data analyst, if you want to be artificial intelligence and machine learning officer, if you want to be a data engineer, if you want to be a cloud architect or cloud engineer, if you want to be a web developer, software developer, right? If you want to be a full stack developer, right, you need to specialize. And universities cannot help you with that, right? They have the designated curriculum, they have predefined curriculum, and they will train you on that, right? So if you believe that you can make a career in IT, and if you want to know more about specializations, how they can be useful to you, just simply drop off the answer on this poll, and you will get a one-on-one counseling from the academic counselors. They are extremely intelligent. They are going to help you decide what you need to do, and we will help you at the best, right? And you will see the change in yourself, right? With time, with time comes the confidence that needs to be immersed in you while you are really preparing for job interviews. And once you have learned and specialized in one particular field, then it is very, very possible for you to crack interviews with confidence, right? So that is all from my side. Can we see the result for the poll? Okay, 80% people are saying yes, 20% people are saying no. So 80%, those who have submitted their responses as yes, you will be getting calls from the academic counselors shortly, right? Right? Please lift up those calls. Try and understand that what they have to say, and put all your questions across them, right? And they will guide you better, right? So thank you all for attending this, Guru class on a Saturday. For many of you, it would have been a weekend, and I really appreciate that you taken out time from your busy schedule, or you had some plans, but you dropped them off and attended the Guru class today, right? So thank you so much, Swati, once again. Thank you, students, for attending this Guru class. I hope this would be a very insightful session for you all. A lot of takeaways would definitely come handy when you are planning to make a career transition, or when you are ready to start your career in IT, right? So have a lovely weekend. Take care of yourself, and do not forget to register for the next Guru class that we will have on the coming Saturday. Thank you so much, everyone.